Hey, 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 I am Brianna Harmon, and this is the Millennial Mommies Club, an original podcast dedicated to all of the millennial mommies out there killing the game. Whether you are single, married, or expecting, this is the place to be during your 15 minutes of downtime. Welcome to the Millennial Mommies Club.
I'm a fun mom.
I am a patient mom.
I am a conscious mom.
I'm a creative mom.
I'm a millennial mom.
What's up, mamas, and welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network. This beautiful face, this energetic woman, you have probably seen not only on TV, commercials as a child, but also she is the face, the voice, I would love to say, of the Atlanta Falcons, just making sure you keep us excited and energetic. Miss Chelsea, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I thought you was describing yourself, girl. I'm like, yes, you looking good. Yes, I love your energy.
No, ma'am, that's all you. I mean, it is just an honor and a pleasure to have you with us, not only to share your journey as a mom, as a wife, and as an entrepreneur out here hustling and getting it done for us women out here of color at that.
Yes.
So let's just get right into it and talk about your motherhood journey. You have a beautiful baby girl. What has that been like for you? When did you have her? How old is she now? Tell me all about the motherhood journey.
She is 6.5.
Ooh.
Her name is Bobby. She's named after her grandpa. So shout out to Papa Bob. We got 2 Bobs. She is wonderful. She's a beautiful mix of both my husband and I. My husband is very analytical and sees the detail, the beauty in the detail of things, and can kind of analyze the situation, be logistical with it, you know, provide proper responses or how to make something better. My daughter's got a lot of that. And then she also has a lot of energy and a lot of just entertainment factor and a lot of emotional aspect that comes from me as well. So she's really a beautiful just mix of the two of us.
Like a perfect blend right there.
Absolutely. A lot to keep up with. So I'm one and done. Because we got all we
Wait,
need.
okay, I was going to say, are you really one and done? You guys
I
don't
am
want
one
nothing
and
else?
done.
Really?
No, to the dismay of all of our family, she definitely
Has sealed the deal. That's all we need.
Absolutely. She is all we need.
So it's funny because when we think about having another child, when I was pregnant with my second, I always wondered, would you have that same love and that same that drive when you first have a baby like you do with the first one? So for you to say that you kind of are one and done, it's kind of funny because I wonder if you ever thought about what if we had another one?
You know, honestly, I wish we had a 4-year-old right now. I think 6 and 4 or your girls, their distance is beautiful, you know, but to go back and have another one now,
Look.
7.5.
Yes,
I'd be sending the first one off to college, yay, and then I turn around
you still got 7 more years.
Yes. So no, I always envisioned us having 2, you know, but life comes and you know, she was a surprise. My husband and I were together for 8.5 years before we got engaged.
Wow.
Then we were engaged for 1 year. And so we just celebrated 7 years of marriage last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we were engaged for about 1.5 years and 3 months before our wedding. There she came.
Uh-oh.
So we actually waited until our wedding to let everybody know. Only our very close family knew.
And you're very small, so I'm pretty sure you weren't showing
Not
very
at
big.
all. Not at all. I love my pregnancy weight, girl. I was like, yes, I feel like a woman now. I'm keeping all this. And then it just went right off with breastfeeding.
That's the worst part. It's literally I'm so small chested that I got super full and big, and I'm like, oh, I love this. Next thing you know, it's everything goes down.
Oh, I hated it. But we waited till the reception, and then I said, you know, we had a special celebrity who was here, and everybody was yelling Usher and Jermaine and all these kind of people, and then we threw her sonogram up on the screen, and everybody just went crazy and rushed us.
That is beautiful.
We were all crying and jumping, and it was just a wonderful thing, and she just made her energy and presence known, and
I love that.
God let me know very quickly that, you know, we are her shepherds, we're her guides, but that she's got something to do. So that's been my mom journey. She's taught us a lot, so it's been a blessing.
And kids definitely teach you that. Children will teach you more than anything that you've ever
Sometimes
thought.
in an ugly way,
right? So now you are a product of a father who was very well introduced to the entertainment industry, very in it. You have done commercials as a child. You've also done television as you were older, and now you are a huge just on-air host and personality. What does that do do for you raising your daughter? Do you think maybe you want to put her into that early, or just the difference now with social media and how TV has changed for our young children to be in that field? How do you feel about that, raising her?
Well, she is just a personality in a whole whirlwind of her own. So she's got her own thoughts about anything. There's like nothing I could really like. I mean, we really try to expose her to a lot of different things. I think that's the biggest thing between when our generation grew up and when our kids, you know, are growing up now. It's like when we were younger, it was, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A doctor, a lawyer,
yes,
a nurse.
These stereotypical things. Whereas now, even the question alone, it's like not what do you want to be when you grow up. You can be these things right now. You can be doing these things right now. When you talk to people, they're like, I started when I was 4. I started when I was 5. I do think she's going to be in front of the camera in some kind of way. Just because she loves it. She's gifted, and we learned very early on that she was gifted. A lot of people recommended that we get her tested for being gifted based off of her communication. She excels in communication, and just both in the way she thinks, but also in the way that she's able to articulate herself. And so she's in a gifted school now, and they've got a lot of different programs that she's exposed to. So, but she told me the other day, Mommy, you said you would get my YouTube together. Where's my YouTube? I'm like, girl, I get paid to do this. This is a job.
We ain't there yet, baby, but we're going to get you there.
She's ready, though. She's all over my social media. You can see her on my
I was going to say,
social media.
I do see her, and you guys were super cute for Halloween. I saw the costumes. I was like, oh my God, they look so cute.
And everybody's always like, you know, where's your daughter? If I don't post her, they're mad at me. I'm like, okay. So.
Don't you just love that about motherhood? It goes, we just get left behind. It's all about the kids, and I'm being very sarcastic about loving it. But it's like, they don't call, check on us anymore.
Yes,
it's not
your kid's mom.
Right. It's like
I'm Bobby's mom. I don't even have a name. I'm
at all.
Bobby's mom.
At all. So again, when we talk about just how you grew up, what are some of those things that you feel like you have to instill in her as a child and kind of prepare her for this world that we're in now?
That's a great question. I think my husband and I really wanted to be real and be honest with her and be people with her.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, when we were growing up, it was like, oh, kids are seen and not spoken to, or this is adult stuff, things like that. Whereas now I feel like, you know, we just allow her to see us as people. We allow her to know we make mistakes. We allow her to know we're learning with her. We're growing with her.
Yeah.
You know, you get to a certain age and then you look at your parents and you're like, oh my God, y'all are like people. You're not just my parents. Like you have a name, like we were just talking about. You guys have a relationship together, you know, your own feelings and thoughts. Well, we really showed her that young. So there are a few things that we really don't want to be taboo for her, such as death. Wow. You know, death is such a scary thing for all of us humans, and it's, you know, the fear of the unknown and all of that stuff, but we really wanted it to be just a part of life for her. It's the circle of life. So whether it's through animals, through our own animal, we had a dog who passed away, and that was kind of her introduction. Okay. He was 12, he was a little bit older, so, but she was 3. And so we were very open and honest with her. You know, he's not coming back, and we all cried together, and then we celebrated him together. Let's send him off good. So death was one of those. Race. I'm in an interracial marriage. Yes. And so my husband being white, and, you know, everything this country's been going through the last 2 years, I have definitely gotten a whole re-educating of who I feel like I am as a black individual, as a black woman, as a strong black woman, and who I want her to see me as, and who I want to just kind of instill in her. So race was something we didn't want to be taboo. Sexuality, sensuality, you know, when I was young, it was really like, close your legs and don't touch, and just very shameful. And even now that I'm married, I'm like still very, you know, I find conservative. So I didn't want that for her. I want her to feel like this is my body, and you know, I can explore my body, I can know my body, I can feel comfortable and confident in my body, but it's my body, you know, don't go, of course, that kind of thing. But just being comfortable and confident in who she is as a woman as well, and not feeling like it's something she has to kind of
hide and show. Yeah, I love that, because I think we always have this worry of giving too much information too soon, or exposing them to too much too early. Absolutely. I know I had that battle where I was like, well, I don't want to talk about sex, or I don't want to talk about their body parts specifically, because do I use the code name and call it your hoo-ha or your...
Don't do it. Don't do it. Penis, vagina, you tell those kids, because if it ain't you telling the kid, it's going to be somebody else. And you want them to know what those things are so they know how to react. I'm sorry.
No, look, we need that, because again, I was that one who would say, that's this part, that's that part. But now it's almost as if like, no, that is your vagina. We can talk about that term.
Yes.
That is a term that is what it's
not a
called.
nasty term.
Right. It's
It's
not
just
something.
what it is.
What it is.
Like-
So I definitely had that conversation where I was worried. But then the fear was if I don't teach it, like you said, somebody else is. And I don't know how it's going to be taught the way you may explain it compared to the way I may explain it.
Yes.
Now, with social media, well, actually, I want to back up a little bit. You talked about your daughter now going to school and being gifted. Now, you homeschooled her.
Yes.
What was the reason behind homeschooling her before you actually brought her into an actual school?
Well, we jumped into homeschool because of COVID, like a lot of other people.
Yeah, pretty much. We had no choice.
Yes. So, and I was very blessed because I looked up, what do kids need to know going into kindergarten, going out of kindergarten, going into first grade? And she actually knew a lot of that. So I was like, okay, well, I can't mess her up. Yeah. It's like but it was just such a blessing. You know, we really learned through whatever her interests were. She's interested in fashion. So I was like, okay, girl, let's research fabrics. I took her to Walmart. She looked at what they had there. She wrote down the pricing. We did math based off of that. She saved her money. She was creative in putting it together. We experimented science-wise. What fabric? What happens if we do this to this fabric or that? So it was a blessing, just exposing her to different things. My husband is a numbers guy, and so he actually calculated she would have to be 7.5, and this was like this was probably about a year ago. She would have had to have been 7.5, and she was only 4 or 5 before we got that same amount of time with her. Because, they're in school for 8 hours, and we work for 8 hours, and then you drive home, and you do this and you do that. It was like we got that much extra time with her. It would have taken us another 2.5 years to get the same amount of time because of COVID and homeschooling that we got with her. So.
Let's talk about that time. That's huge to know, because now I'm wondering in my mind, what would be my calculation with my kids right now? But talk about time. As moms, we are balancing and juggling everything from being a wife to being a friend, being a daughter, and now a mom. How do you even balance the time to feel like, you know what, I'm giving her what she needs? Or do you ever have guilt when you're working a lot and trying to figure out, how do I get back into being mom?
Yes. Well, and this layered.
I know.
I used to work at Turner. I worked at Turner Broadcasting for 5 years here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And there was this wonderful, just beautiful, her essence, everything about her was fantastic. I admired her. She was one of the executives in HR there.
Okay.
And she had 3 kids. And I went to a little seminar she put together, and that was a question that I asked, how do you balance everything? And she was like, you need to just focus on what's in front of you at that time. We always try to multitask and do a million things. She was like, don't do that, specifically put time in each of those areas. Make sure you spend time with your husband, you spend time with your children. But when you're at work, focus on work. Try to do that as much as possible. And in that way, you will win every day. And I literally did a podcast on this, kind of an evolution of it, because she was like, some days I will be wonderful at work. Everybody's happy. All of my clients are happy. I'm getting everything done. But then I get home and I don't get to spend as much time with my daughter and my husband. Yeah. So instead of thinking of that as like a loss, think of it as a 1. You won that day for work. But now the next day, let me put more time and energy into my daughter and my husband. Yeah. That way I can win in those areas that day. So basically just the balance to me is focusing on, what you're supposed to be focusing on at that moment and doing the best that you can, and then making sure that you make time for everything else too. And then you don't feel like kind of, obviously we all feel the
easier
mom
said
guilt.
than done.
Yes.
That guilt is another level.
It is. I felt it just last night. Oh gosh. She told me something, and then when you lay down at night, you kind of run through your day. I heard it later, and I was like, oh my God. I thought about my reaction, and I felt such mom guilt. I was like, why didn't I hug my baby at that moment? And I snuck in a room and I hugged her. Obviously she's sleeping.
It's the moments like that I think they truly cherish. But even us, we cherish those conversations, whether we think about it 5 hours later or in that moment, because that's a bond, that's a connection that we may have missed, but get the opportunity to either go fix like you did and or appreciate it during that moment. Now, as we continue to just kind of unpeel who you are as a woman, I want to take a short break and then come back and just talk about how you've been able to excel after being a mom and still feeling like who am I? And I know who I am, and I'm comfortable in this, because again, it gets super easy to lose ourselves in our kids, in our husbands, and in our businesses. So you guys, we're going to take a short break. You're listening to the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network.
You are listening to the Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network.
What's up, mamas, and welcome back to the Millennial Mommies Club. We're sitting here with Phillips Tafoya, and we've shared and learned so much just about your motherhood journey. But let's talk about post-mom. Let's talk about any things that you may have experienced after, because we know the birth is one thing, but trying to find ourselves again is a whole nother story. What's that been like for you?
It's been something that's been a journey. Hey, girlfriend. Yay. Thank
Oh,
you.
wow.
Thank you.
This is not happening. It's happening.
Ooh, that is a cool iPad.
Where's anybody to watch
This
you?
is
Here you go,
real
Jelani.
right here, okay?
This is real.
This is real motherhood.
Okay,
This is what it's about.
Go. At this point, close the door, Journey. Woo!
Doing great. We good.
All right.
Yes.
Giles will figure out how we cut this, whatever we're going to do, or we leave it.
That's why we have 3 cameras.
All right.
Okay? Yes.
Here we go. Again, this is mom life. This is what we do. This is my first day having to bring them with me.
Yes.
So we got an experience of them in the building.
You are doing wonderfully.
Thank you.
That's what always happens. We get flustered, and then they just show us, you got this, Mom.
And just keep on going.
Yes.
So we're going to keep on going.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
just continue with that question of honestly just finding yourself again after having your baby. Did you have any dark moments where you felt like, who am I? What is Chelsea going to do?
Oh, yeah. I think every mom experiences that. I feel like we always want to snap back or go find ourselves again or go back to who we were. But really, just like every journey, you're evolving. And that's a huge event in your life. It's a wonderful one. But yeah, it does come with, some negative times when you just realize, you're not for yourself anymore. For the first time in your life, literally, your every thought, your every action, whether you want it to be or not, is like outside of your body, is like this other little entity that runs in and takes over your
24/7.
your greatest and your worst moments. So, just right after, so the challenge with me specifically, and I think a lot of us experience this as well, is like I mentioned, we learned after being together for 8.5 years that we were having a child. She ended up coming 4 months after we got married.
Right.
So a lot of people were like, oh, how was the first year of marriage? And I'm like, well, the first year of being a mom was. So that was kind of the difficult part. We were very blessed to have had this 8 years together, just he and I. But by the time we got married, married life is different, but then it became, mom and dad life.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of my biggest struggle journey. That was probably my biggest kind of struggle journey beyond finding myself again, was kind of finding who this new person was, both as a mom, but also as a wife with a child, if that makes sense.
No, it really does, because I can only imagine, I'm not married, but the challenges of trying to, when you first get married, and this is just me assuming, right? You are trying to figure out how to cook, not how to, but the schedule of cooking, the schedule of cleaning, the schedule of sex, the schedule of balance and work. Absolutely. And now I'm having to be a mom at the same time. So not only am I taking care of you, but this baby. Not only am I exhausted from being a mom, now I have to please you. And I'm sure that comes with this conflict as well.
100%. And that really actually ended up playing a biggest factor in why we are one and done. We've got all we need, all the glory in our Bobby. At first I thought it was kind of like, it's finances or it's work or, all of these different things. When am I going to be able to have enough love? Like we mentioned earlier for 2 children, although we all know, yes, you do, your heart expands, But beyond that, why I feel like we're one and done is because I like who I am now as a wife. We're back husband and wife. My daughter is almost 7, so she can do a lot on her own now, know? So just being able to be with my husband the way I want to, and be the wife to him, it makes me a better mom and it makes me a better person. Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. But it took a while. I mean, I definitely thought, I'll fall into it, or I'll find me again, or, I'll kind of get back to whatever, you think something is. But that part is challenging, kind of realizing, my body will never be the same again.
Yeah.
My mind will never be the same again. My heart, my spirit, my energy, nothing
Your
is
time
the same.
will never be the same
the
again.
time thing is like, woo, it is.
I feel like the timing is the part that I struggle with the most as a mom, because I'm always looking at the clock. And I'm always looking at it in ways of, okay, I have from 6 to 8 to do this. And I have from 9 to 10 to take care of and homeschool them. Then I have from 11 to 12 to check my emails. So the clock doesn't even look like a full 24 hours anymore. It's broken up into pieces to be able to fulfill every duty of a woman that has kids and that may have a partner in their life.
Absolutely.
Then that's challenging in itself. Now, you are this amazing arena host that is with the Falcons every game, there supporting and just cheering on the team and just getting the fans hyped and excited. How does that feel for you right now in your journey and your career, to be able to do something that you love and be able to just see your growth from a child to now?
That's a great question. It's funny because I joke around and I tell people that when I first was kind of applying for the job, it says, must be comfortable in front of 70,000 plus people. And I'm like, oh yeah, check, that's me, check. Like, I had never been in that capacity that I knew of before. But yesterday we played the Chargers and we lost in the last 3 seconds, but we won't talk about that. But my husband and my daughter came to the game for the first time. This is my second season with the Falcons.
Okay.
But they came to the game for the first time. And I share videos and things like that, but obviously it's nothing like being in person. And my husband said my daughter was so proud. She was just sitting up there telling everybody around her, my mommy's coming up. That's my mommy up there. And she was like, Mommy, when do I get to go up there and do it? I want to tell everybody something. I'm like, oh, I know you do, girlfriend. So, but it's such a blessing. The energy that I get from the people, the crowd, I love it. I feed, as a host,
I know.
feed off of this energy.
Yep.
It's just a blessing being in there, whether we win, we lose. I mean, it's an event and we're going to have a good time.
Yes.
Like, I'm dancing, I'm giving my all, I'm talking to people. I get asked a lot, like, where do you get this energy from? And I'm like, like, this is just, it's such I love it. I love it. It's beyond a blessing.
It's so funny because I made a post the other day where I had a mic in my hand and I was like, the rush that I get with this mic is unexplainable.
Yes.
Like I can be having the worst moment, but it's when I get that mic in my hand, everything goes out the window and it's like a light switch and I'm this vibrant, excited, happy person. And even with my daughters, when I watch my shows and watch them back, they're like, you're the Millennial Mommies Club. You're the Millennial Mommies Club. And now she's saying it. And, and I actually brought them to one music fest where I was hosting with Baller Alert. And my daughter was walking around with the mic. And she's like she's interviewing Usher and Division. And they had so much fun just playing around with her. But it was just the excitement and the support that I feel to be able to know that I'm making a difference in their lives and exposing them to other careers and opportunities, because it's not the traditional anymore of doctors and lawyers and just what we thought was the grow-up job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, your kid could be like, I want to be on YouTube.
Exactly.
Yes, you can. Because homeboy making $28 million a year.
Are we talking about Ryan's world? Because Ryan, I'm literally, and now they got twins. So I'm like, y'all got 2 more. Y'all not done. You're going to continue to make millions.
I mean, it's a whole brand and represent. It's a family thing, which I love. But that's it. I mean, my husband and I realized very early on in my daughter's life, I have to be very conscious about how I present work to her. Because, sometimes we feel like, even though we love what we do, you're just getting up in the morning, putting this face on. We be putting faces on. Y'all just don't know. We don't wake up like this. It's like, it's a chore. It takes effort and energy, even if you love it. And so I really realized I need to be conscious with her about how I talk about work. And not just to her, but how I present work to her. Mommy's going to go work. And then I realized I really want her, obviously, to do something that she loves, too. Like we said, is a little bit more stereotypical what you had to do when you were younger. Whereas now, do something that you love, do something that you feel that vibrant adrenaline and that energy from. And, you'll be good. Just sharing it with her. I come home from work and I download her on what's going on. If I've been posting all day, we look through the posts, whether I'm on camera or behind the camera, too. I'll tell her what's happening. And it's funny because a lot of times she has solutions for me. She has realizations. I'm like, you're right, baby. She picks up on a lot of the little details that like.
Well, let's talk about that producer side, because you also are a producer and work with that. How has that changed from being in front of the camera to now being behind the camera and having your hands in that space?
It's a benefit. It's a duality, you know. It's I can, when I'm behind the camera, I know how to speak to people, you know, and get them to feel comfortable and things like that being on camera, whether it's a CEO of a major corporation, or if it's a celebrity who's on camera all the time, and you would think they would need, you know, would be a little bit more comfortable, but they're not for some reason, or just an everyday person who's never been on camera before. Because I am on camera, I kind of know as a producer what it feels like to be on this side. So that's been a huge benefit. And then we just always, as a producer, you know, the thing is, as a host, you always kind of have that producer in you, because you're always thinking about the whole storyline. When you're interviewing somebody, you know, you're thinking sound bites and how we piece the story together, how you present your energy and give it off to this person to help them better tell their story. All of that is producing as well. So it's really a duality that's been very beneficial for me. And obviously my on camera, you know, is more showy, more, you know, as a brand puts me out there more. So that helps me as a producer as well. But I've grown up in the industry, so just, you know, I've seen and played every part of it. And that's huge to me too, because as a producer, I can speak the language of my lighting director or my cameraman or my editor. Too. That's been a big benefit.
Yeah, that's one thing I admired about going to school for journalism, because I was forced to learn how to operate a camera, how to cut up a montage, how to be able to find those sound bites and B-roll, and not depend on somebody else to do it, which has truly enhanced me as a personality in front of the camera as well. So I want to get a little personal and just talk about what motivates you as a mom, as a woman, as an entrepreneur. What is that motivation for Chelsea?
That is a great question, and I have never been asked that question that way before. I think, you know, like every mom, your child motivates you, the day-to-day, the little moments that you get with them, you know, that you just cherish, that are very tiny, and sometimes they don't even know. It's like just touching to you in a way. But being able to expose my daughter to as much as I can. As a parent, you always want to give them everything your parents gave you plus some. You know, you just got to keep bumping the generations up. So to me, exposing my daughter to just as much as I can, allowing her to get her hands on everything and just see this world in a way that, you know, we wish we could have when we were younger is such a motivation to me. My husband and I are just very real with her. You know, we talk to her. She'll ask a question. We answer. We answer very simply at first, but she builds, you know, whether it's in that moment or, you know, it's years from now or months from now, because she's asked me stuff that happened years ago. I'm like, girl, how you remember? I can't remember what we ate for breakfast this morning, but you've seen it, you know. That really motivates me too. The fact that I could just be real with her and tell her, you know, like I said earlier, we're growing together. You know, we're doing this together. I'm learning from you. You're learning from me. And she's got this new thing now at the end of the day where she likes to say, you know, well, what could we have done better today? Wow. So first she starts off with herself, and then she'll tell me about myself. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I didn't even notice that. Right. You know? That's
good dialogue, though. And that's a good way to end out the day, to be able to fix yourself. And it's mind-blowing that she's 6 and she's giving you that time to reflect and say, well, maybe I could have done that better for you. And I really am going to incorporate that and have that dialect.
Yesterday she told me, and I love this one because I'm always late, because you know, color people and Chelsea Phillips and Caribbean people time, I got it all, right? But yesterday she said to me, because we were rushing around and we were having a good time, but I was a little stressed out trying to get her to ballet or wherever while working and all kind of stuff. But we started laughing together. And she said, Mommy, well, our timing may not be good, but we're having good times. Oh. And I said, ooh, girl, I like that. So that's my new thing. I'm like, oh, I might have been a little late. My timing was wrong, but we having good times.
Look, that is so.
Yes, they teach us stuff. That's a motivation. Just everything that I could put in front of her and then watch her experience it and then take what I can from it as well. So that's my big motivator.
You seem and have definitely displayed an amazing mom, an amazing woman, an amazing wife, and on-air talent for us as viewers to watch and just idolize and see just everything about you is just amazing. All in a nutshell.
We're growing. We're growing together, all of us.
So I want to thank you so much for just being a part of this show and coming on and sharing your journey. But we also want them to keep up with you, keep up with your daughter. Please let them know where they can follow you and support everything that you have going on.
Yes, so I am doing a whole new website and social media reevaluation right now. So please check me out at TV Chelsea P. That's CHELSEA P as in Paul for my maiden name Phillips. TV Chelsea P on IG. I'm trying to get back into Twitter. I literally made a TikTok commercial and I am not on TikTok, but I will be on TikTok very shortly. TVChelseaP.com. revamping right now and it's going to be wonderful. So that's what's going on.
Guess what? We're revamping you. You're about to build up your daughter.
Yes.
Miss Bobby is about to have a YouTube channel soon.
So that will be coming out to Bobby Digital. So it's coming.
Ooh, and we got a name. I love that. Yes. So again, Chelsea, just thank you so much. And we will continue to watch your journey, continue to support you and be a part. And I can't wait to come to another game and just see you on that field and that Jumbotron killing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys very much. Mwah.
All right, mamas, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network.